All right, and my next 4 questions for homework today that you guys have. Right, this is the story. It's called The Wedding is the title. They put the title up at the top in bold. Sometimes I center it. I don't have to, right? But I put it at the top, and I give lots of things a title. Cindy's oldest sister, Becca, went to a wedding last weekend. Becca is telling Cindy about her friend's wedding traditions, right? Different culture, different traditions. Here's someone speaking, right? And I don't know who's speaking because it doesn't tell me who said it, but I do know because it says Becca is telling Cindy. So, right, I could have put on here, said Becca. The ceremony took place beneath a chuppah. What is a chuppah? Cindy asked. Now I know who's talking because they told me, right? Cindy asked. Whenever someone's talking, I put quotation marks around it. It's a question, so I'm even going to put a question mark there. And I put my quotation marks even around the question mark. I have to put a question mark if I'm asking a question. My sentence continues, right? This looks like a funky sentence. Look, they have a question mark and a period to end it. But this is the very end of the sentence. This is the end of the quotation mark. I just put a question mark or exclamation mark in the quotations. If it was a period, I just put a comma. A chuppah is an open tent, which stands for a new home, right? This is 2 thoughts. It's an open tent, which stands for new home, so I put a comma to separate them. I'm putting quotation marks around what she says. She started talking here. She's still talking. Then the groom, this is the man in a wedding, is the groom, gave the bride, that's the girl in the wedding, is a bride, a solid gold ring, right? It's solid instead of being filled with fake gold or something. It's a real gold ring, which stands for the hope that they will be together always, right? A lot of customs do this. A lot of places do this. Becca said. Finally, they had a party and danced a special dance called the hora. Now Becca's done talking, right? Here's the ending quotation marks. She started talking here. She kept talking. That's why it's in one paragraph. It's the same person talking. When a new person starts talking, I start a new paragraph. It doesn't matter how many sentences. I start a new paragraph. So here is Becca. She said, comma, right? If it's a period, I just put a comma. I don't put a period in a quotation mark. Only exclamation marks or question marks. Becca said, finally, right? Whenever I say finally, next, I put a comma after it. I'm separating like I'm talking. Finally, they had a party and danced a special dance called the hora. That sounds like a great wedding. Again, with the exclamation mark now in the quotation mark. Exclaimed Cindy, right? Exclamation mark, she exclaimed. Shouted Cindy. Yelled Cindy. Exclaimed just means the same thing. Right, how do I know this text is realistic fiction? Right, I was telling you I can use my question to answer. I could also answer shorter, but to use my question to answer, I can tell, because they asked me, how do you know? Or I could say, I know, I can tell, this is realistic fiction. And then my best word when I'm answering a question, because this could really have happened, right? It sounds like a true story. If something that could have really happened, I call it realistic fiction. I'm going to guess it's made up because it's in our book. But write one example of realistic dialogue found in the text. Explain why it is realistic. How about what is a chuppah? Write one example. So here's my example. And actually, let's put an EX here so I know that's my example. And I'm just going to copy it. They wanted me to write one example. Here's my example. What is a chuppah? Right? If someone told me they were at a chuppah, they saw a chuppah, I would probably ask that same question. That's why I'm going to say, this is a great example to let me know that this dialogue shows it's real. Explain why it is realistic. I think it is realistic. And here's my best way to answer a question, right? Explain, why is it realistic? I think it is realistic because, right, that's my best word when I answer, because I would have asked the same question. And I'm a real person, right? I could write all that in there too, but I'm not. How does Becca describe the chupa and what it stands for? Right? How does Becca describe the chupa and what it stands for? So I'm going to just use my question. Becca describes, right? If she describes something, you tell them about it. They did not give me a lot of room for this one, right? Just one line. The chupa. How does she describe it? A chupa is an open tent, which stands for a new home. Bess describes the chupa as an open tent, right? I'm just using my question and what it stands for. And I'm trying not to copy exactly what she wrote up there so I don't use plagiarism and copy. Is an open tent that stands for a new home. Right, I changed my word a little bit. But they also did ask me to write what she said. And I could put quotation marks around that because I copied it right from her. And I could put quotation marks right there. No one's talking, but I am quoting someone else. I don't want to copy what she wrote, so I put quotation marks. So if anyone reads this, they know I copied it from somewhere else. Write another descriptive detail from the text. How does this detail help you experience the text as realistic? So, I need to write another descriptive detail from the text that tells me how I know it's real. Alright, so I'm going to go back up to the first one because the rest are quotation marks. But I could use a quotation mark. That sounds like a great wedding, exclaimed Cindy. Write another descriptive detail. So I could go up here and I would have done this one. Cindy's oldest sister went to a wedding last weekend. I could get rid of Becca. That sounds like something that really could happen, right? But I'll use the last sentence instead of going up to the front. That sounds like a great wedding, exclaimed Cindy. So I'm just going to copy the text because they said to write another descriptive detail. I might also say the last line shows me a descriptive detail. How does this detail help me experience? Shows that Cindy was excited about the wedding and most people get excited about weddings, right? And most people like weddings. Some people do not like weddings, but most people do. So, right, that would be a reason. You're excited about the wedding because people get excited about weddings. It's just a fun thing. Anyway, there's your homework. Right, you guys are also writing me a letter. And that's it. Math. And there was a corona test. Sorry, there's so much homework today.